So the day has come. The day has come where Messi is no longer a FC Barcelona player. It has come in a fashion that none of us was expecting. Actually, it came after we were promised time and time again by Laporta, by the media, by everyone who could tell us anything that his renewal was going to happen, that his renewal was, done. And what we saw was the worst way possible that we could have seen, that we could have said goodbye to this man, which was he was literally landing in Barcelona to sign his final 5-year deal, and out of the blue, Messi was no longer a Barcelona player. He was no longer on the team's website. FC Barcelona was releasing stupid materials on Twitter, really badly edited video and images, and the timing, everything was off. Everything. And obviously, I'm not ready. I didn't process the last 20 years, especially the last 10 years, where I worked professionally covering this club. For those of you who have followed my work, you know that I have, dedicated thousands of hours, on Twitter, watching the matches, analyzing, reading books, reading biographies, watching documentaries, interviewing people, creating groups and websites. And so obviously I didn't have time to process the last decade, to process Messi's career, to process everything that happened. We know what happened after Rossell took over and then Bartomeu. But if Messi, on one of the worst days of his life, of his career, on the day that he was saying goodbye to the city, to the country, I'm talking about Catalonia, he himself had the choice to say that his 3 children are Spanish Argentinian, but he said Catalan Argentinian earlier today. And his home, his club, which has been his, his place where he became the most dominant football player in the history of football. No other player in the history of this sport has had the last 13 years from 2008 until 2021 as Messi has. Not even Pelé, Romario, Garrincha, you name it, you can't compare. And so because of this, because of who Messi is, what he represents to me and to lots of people that I've had the chance, thousands of people that I've had the chance to talk about, to learn about Barcelona, Catalonia, Messi, Guardiola, Cruyff together. I'm doing this live stream today. Obviously, all of us are getting, nobody has the full story at this moment. I think only Laporta, only Messi, only a few people, and really close to the situation knows the whole story. But I would be amiss, I would be a coward not to put my face here live in front of you. I thank everyone who's watching and who will watch this later, because I feel I have the responsibility as someone who, loves this club, who loves Barcelona, Catalonia, who loves Messi, who loves Guardiola, Cruyff, and who really, I really feel blessed in a non-religious way, in a more spiritual fashion, for having followed Messi's career and his time in Barcelona. It's not a coincidence that, I spent the thousands of hours that I did. I learned Spanish and Catalan. I I communicated, wrote, and I'm talking in a third language, English. I'm Brazilian. My native language is Portuguese, but I think all of us are mourning Messi. The experiences that we had with Messi, what Messi meant in our lives, and I think we need to talk about it. We to spend time cursing people or blaming. Of course, there's lots of people to blame, including Laporta, and I will get to it. The second part of this live stream will be about the last 10 years, Rossell, and the mistakes I think Laporta is making right now, because it was obvious. It is obvious that the way that Messi left, everything about it was rushed. It wasn't honest. We are not getting the full story. There's no explanation why Messi, unless he didn't want to, didn't give his final speech before the Gamper game, the trophy today. Because to me, it looks like Laporta chose a strategy where getting, having a limit, having a really, he didn't go all the way to keep Messi, because in the end, letting Messi go would make his life easier to, start the project from scratch, to get rid of the players that did not lower their salaries, that did not want to leave. But as I said, I won't start talking about, the whole mess right now. I want to talk about Messi. I want to talk about his 20 years he spent in Catalonia. I want to talk about how his greatness was built by several heartbreaks that he has had to endure all his life since he was a child. And I want to spend the first 41 hour, the first half of this live stream, talking about who this guy is, what he meant to me, and what he means to thousands, millions of people all over the world, because no other player in the history of this sport has been as dominant, has been as superb in 13 straight seasons as Lionel Messi. So that's the effort I'm making today. I apologize if at any moment during the live stream I cry. I do hope that I know most people that are watching me will be dudes like me. I hope you guys are, comfortable on your own skin to allow yourselves to feel what we need to feel right now. But I'm ready. So let's go. First of all, since the objective, my goal with this live stream is to offer support, moral support, mental health support, because I think I don't know of a similar, such a traumatic way to lose an important player, and to lose Messi the way that we did when we saw him, last year asking to leave Barcelona, tired of Bartomeu and all the craziness that we know. It's clear that Messi, after that Liverpool semi-final, he was emotionally done with FC Barcelona, and rightly so, because we know very well that the problems, the structures that allowed us to win the Champions League in 2015 and to be humiliated in the Champions League since then. We know very well how they went. So for Messi to go through what he has been going through since 2015, to have to make the decision to leave this club that he loves so dearly, that he has been for 20 years, that he had a first half of the season which was bad, that obviously he is Messi, so he came into 2021 as Messi, and he did everything he could to win La Liga. He did his part, but obviously we have another mediocre coach who is sold as someone who is a Cruyffist, but is not, has never been, and will not be. Doesn't matter if he speaks Dutch or not. We saw Messi lose La Liga, but he won the Copa del Rey. And the most amazing thing, especially for me, who is a Brazilian, in the middle of the pandemic, where the fascist Jair Bolsonaro has killed 600,000 Brazilians due to the negationism and, you know, not buying vaccines and all sort of all the mess that you can imagine. Because of this political frailty of Bolsonaro, of the fascist, who has killed 600,000 Brazilians in the pandemic, the Copa America was transferred here in Brazil because no other country in South America, due to the pandemic, wanted to host it. And Messi not only reached the final, but he did it while being the top scorer, the guy who gave the most assists, the best player in the competition. And finally, the squad that he had available in the final, his fourth final with Argentina, all he needed was someone to score the goal that wasn't scored in the 2014 World Cup final in the Maracanã, or the balls that didn't went in on the 2015 and 16 finals against Chile. So Messi was enjoying the best vacation of his life. Messi had finally won the Copa America. As you know, it's something that Pelé, Romario, Maradona, lots of historical players never won, because if it hasn't become clear right now, national teams are about generations, are about structures, and are about how the squads are put together. And if Messi has had the full squad in 2014, or if Higuaín and Palacio had put the ball where it should have gone, Messi would have been a world champion. But he never gave up, and he won the Copa America. He decided to stay in Barcelona because he was convinced by what Laporta told him, by what Laporta promised him. And after the negotiations that supposedly were going really well, we received this car crash of a news out of the blue, because the way it was done, all of us were right to doubt that it was really happening. What do you mean? Yes, you spent months, you spent the final weeks telling that, my friend Oscar, big kiss to you, to your wife and the kids. Oscar has been a dear friend for many years. We met on Twitter. One of his children is named Leo, after Messi. So thanks for being here, my friend, and all the other friends and people who are watching right now. And the way it was done, it was obvious that we could think, no, it has to be some sort of ploy by Laporta, because you can't come from the almost certainty of renewal to saying that Messi is no longer linked to Barcelona. It has to be some sort of pressure on La Liga, on whatever, on the other players that didn't lower their salary. Thank you, Bryn. Thank you, Bryn. And we got this car crash of a news. We got a presser from Laporta which did not answer the main questions and I will talk about it later. And we got Messi's presser today. And to think that the man who for the past 20 years, especially the last 13, obviously Messi has been giving us everything he could for the last 16 years since he's been on the first team, 2005, 2006. But to think that there were people, journalists, people on Twitter, as usual, saying that Laporta asked that Messi lower his salary in another 30% and he didn't accept it. That Messi was the new Figo. That Messi was selling himself to Qatar. Messi opened the door to the presser today, and all he could do was cry. Messi was betrayed by the way he was disconnected from FC Barcelona by the current board, by Laporta. Laporta had the time and had the knowledge to use the 6 months, 5 months he's had to really work, to put people to look into the contracts that we all knew over the last decade that will prove to be a problem right now. Who here didn't know that the Spy Barca thing was full of shady deals? I've been telling this, I've been writing about it for 8 years, 7 years. Who here didn't know that the signing of Dembele, Coutinho, and Griezmann, these 3 players, none of them who has really fit and the success in FC Barcelona, represent 420 million euros just in signing fees. You have to add that their salaries. We know what the situation was. So for Laporta to try to tell us that he planned Messi's renewal, he planned his first full year as FC Barcelona president was once more, that he really planned it on the information and on the numbers that Bartomeu's board had given him is bullshit. Because you could say that if you were talking about people who weren't being sued by every imaginable institution in Spain, who weren't, going to prison, who weren't spending the club's money to spy on people, to attack people on Twitter, like this motherfucker here, they have been doing it since 2015. So Laporta doesn't get to tell us that first of all, because he didn't tell us what was the date that he was informed by, the company that was checking the books that, oh no, we now have a 487 million in losses from the last season. 6 months to tell us that? Really? You mean to tell me that a club that only has certain obvious links with players, with obligations, with everything, that you need 6 months? After all we've seen the Spanish justice system deal with Barcelona and Bartomeu and Rossell? Here's my current version of what Laporta plans was. Listen, this isn't information. This isn't me getting the information from a trusted Catalan journal. But before I get into Messi's career, because I'm 20 minutes in the introduction and I didn't get to it, I want to share with you guys my theory about what happened the last few days. And obviously I want to hear your guys' opinions about it. I agree with you, Kartik, They obviously did not do their best. They sold the lie that everything was okay with Messi's renewal, so that they wouldn't be attacked for their lack of actions, for their lack of bravery to go after people who are clearly criminals, who have proven time and time again that are criminals, and every time they went to court, they had the shamelessness to tell every single judge that they would have done everything the same way they did before. Because that was their objective, to steal money from us. What I think Laporta did really was, he knew that if he didn't offload players and he didn't lower salaries, he could not renew Messi. This thing that, oh, now how much money we give to the players in salary represents 95% of the money earned, and because of that, we cannot sign Messi, register the contract with Messi, even though he slashed his salary in 50%. What I think Laporta chose was, as a lawyer, because Laporta is a lawyer and I'm a lawyer too, he knew that if he went to court to show the financial situation of the club, in the shambles that Bartomeu and Loracel left, he could argue before a judge that the contracts of players as Alba, Sergio Roberto, all the guys that you know who I'm talking about, they need to be lowered because the club has to follow certain rules within La Liga, and if they don't, they won't be able to compete. Okay? The problem is, and Laporta said this in the presser, if he went to court, he had the chance that the judges would rule in favor of the players, and Barcelona, instead of lowering what they have to pay, they would have, to pay extra. They have to pay, extra fees to their players. So, my friends, what I think Laporta did, to go straight to the point, was, since he knew the situation was really hard, the negotiation with the players didn't happen, and you can read Xavi Torres, his username is at Xavi Torres, double L in the end, who's one of the best journalists in Catalonia. He was a really close friend to Cruyff. He's a really close friend to Guardiola. He's a friend of Laporta, who is a guy who's extremely serious. His last article, which he wrote on the 3rd, August 3rd, was pretty much saying that Laporta, his main problem was with the players, because he thought it would be easy to negotiate with the other players, and that even Messi's renewal was up in the air because of the difficulty with dealing with the players. So, I think Laporta chose to be the guy to let Messi go, because he believes that this club will be broken, will go bankrupt, if he were to keep Messi, and especially all the other dead weights that we know need to let go. So what I'm saying is, with Messi gone, Laporta now has a precedent. He can go before a judge and say, listen, the situation is so dire that the best player in the history of this club, the best player in history, someone who had lowered his salaries but couldn't be registered, didn't stay in the club. So now, I expect the judge, I expect the Spanish courts to do the same with the other players, or as a political strength to show all the other players, look, even Messi, because there's another point in Laporta's presser that it was really subtle, but you can tell. Two little phrases. First, when one of the first questions after he did his opening statement was that for him to talk about Messi's legacy. And Laporta left a little hint that First of all, it wasn't the Laporta with the sparkle on his eyes and the passion, you know. It was a cold compliment about Messi. You guys can watch it again. You can see what I'm talking about. And on this first answer, he says that the club has had Messi at his peak. He says, he uses the expression in Catalan, jogador at his play, at his utmost, at his most dominant. That's the first little information. And the second is that Laporta, in a presser that he should have been extremely transparent, he is using his same populist, you know, demeanor, his same populist techniques to, for example, say that he wishes right now to surpass the generation and what Laporta, Guardiola in this era that is officially over today, they built. So, I do not believe for a second, with the information that we have right now, that Laporta gave Messi away because of the Super League. Because the people who are spreading this are the same liars as always. The article that wrote this today, in Sunday's morning today, was from La Vanguardia, a really old reactionary paper in Spain, who has no direct ties to Barcelona. So whatever people say about the Super League, be really take it with a handful of salt. Because just think about it. And let me have a sip of water, just see the comments here. Solaiman, Laporta used Messi and fed us all those lies to win the elections. I even doubt he will take Rosselló and Bartomeu to court for their shit show. My friend, I agree with the first part. It's impossible that he won't take Rosselló and Bartomeu to court because right now Barcelona has $1.5 billion dollars in debt, and they will have to sue the banks that, you know, protected the Bartomeu board, and we will have to go against them personally, because otherwise Laporta will be dead politically. Because like it or not, you have the opposition with Victor Font, who was supported by people really close to Group Godot and the powerful people, but we talk about it later. But that's what I think is the strategy with Laporta, my friends. I really think that I will talk about Font in the end, Oscar. He showed some flaws that to me were really grave during the elections. He was really resorting to attacks, only attacks on Laporta. He was bringing people from Mundo Deportivo. Don't forget, please don't forget, that when we first start getting the news that maybe Messi wasn't going to renew after all, which was absurd, Mundo Deportivo was having people say that Messi was leaving because Romero wasn't signed to Barcelona. People, come on. It's how many times? They did it with Tata Martino. They did it with so many signings that was blamed on the dictator Messi, that it's a joke. And obviously, there was Sergi Solé for Mundo Deportivo early today. You can check his Twitter account at Sergi Solé MD, as Mundo Deportivo, was making fun of Messi because he was only thinking of Paris and whatnot. And moments later, we have the presser where Messi starts by crying and being unable to hold an open statement, and he only was, you know, able to reply to the answers. We saw that the best player of all time wanted to stay at this broken club with Koeman, with this squad, with all its flaws, with everything against him, and he could not. They didn't allow him to stay. The conditions didn't allow him to stay, and the choices made by this board and Laporta, especially their lack of transparency, was directly at fault in this. Lucas, do you think Victor would have handled this financial situation different as he claims, or is just now just talk of an opportunist? Look, you guys know I treat this work really seriously, even though I started as a really angry young man on Twitter, and I used to be, my temper was really short. I was really rude sometimes. I respect Victor Font. I have direct access to him via WhatsApp. He has called me out of the blue many times. I have called him. I have talked. I know that guy. I have access to Victor Font that Laporta and his people never gave me. And all the other candidates gave to me in 2015. But, so I will never call Victor an opportunist. I think he is the next generation of, rich people, a younger generation of rich people in Catalonia who want to take over. Need I remind you that Laporta, Rossell, and Bartomeu were the opposition to Núñez back in '97, and they formed Elefant Blau, the Blue Elephant, the name of the political group, right after Ronaldo Nazário, the fat Ronaldo, left in a weird, out of the blue, really similar to what happened to Messi. He was going to renew and then he left to Inter. It was really weird. So I do not think he's an opportunist, but I do not think that he could claim that he could handle the situation differently, I think that from all he said that he would be more transparent than Laporta was. But regarding being able to better negotiate or to convince the players to slash their salaries or to get alternative revenue streams in the middle of the pandemic, I think it's really difficult. So it's a situation that, it's hard to predict. Most of our rumors suggest Messi deal will only be 2 years, maybe one extra. It's likely he comes back to FCB if they undone some of the economic damage in 2 years. Roger, I think Messi sees himself as a Catalan. He has Catalan children. He built his family, he made his best friends, he spent 20 years. He left Argentina as a young child with physical disabilities that due to the financial crisis in Argentina, not even the biggest and richest clubs in Buenos Aires, especially River Plate, were willing to pay the 1,000 a month treatment for Messi to apply the growth hormones. So Messi is a Catalan. He is a cooler. He really loves this club, and he has shown today, even while we were closing the door on his face. So let's see what happens, I really think that Laporta and Messi and Messi's family is pissed at Laporta because Messi was denied the right to slowly say goodbye to 20 years of his life, to the club where he scored 700 goals, to the club where he won 4 out of the 5 Champions League titles, to the club where he won 10 La Ligas, where, it's Messi. It's 8 Pichichi awards, 8 Golden Ball awards. It's Messi. So I really hope that Messi plays his final season in Barcelona. But if the financial situation is true, and unless Bartomeu really is able... unless Laporta really is able to clean the house and start with younger, cheaper players with, smaller salaries... I think it will be really tough for Messi to return, but maybe when Koeman inevitably fails, because let's be honest here, right? I could have done this whole live stream by saying I was right. Nobody listened to me. I was attacked. These guys were gangsters. Blah 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 blah. But I always said I didn't want to be right. I don't want to be right now. I wanted us not to be broke and to have Messi by this point. And we didn't have, we are at the opposite of this. So, fuck MD. Yes, time and time again, for the last decades, for the history of this club shows us that the media, the Catalan media, is one of the most ideological tools that the Catalan elites have to keep their power inside the club, to be able to steal money from us, to be able to send the biggest players in the history of football away. Because I need to remind you that Kubala left Barcelona. Luis Suarez, the best player in the end of the 50s, left Barcelona because we couldn't pay for the company. We're in a really similar situation to Messi right now. De Cruyff left Barcelona in a sad fashion in the 70s. That Maradona left. That Romário left. That Ronaldo Fenômeno left. Rivaldo left. Ronaldinho left. Everyone left by the back door. And especially Messi, the best team in the history of this club. Remind me, please, how Victor Valdez left FC Barcelona. He didn't even have a goodbye ceremony. He picked up his things in the locker room and he went. Dani Alves, he went for free by the back door as well. Puyol, the same. Abidal, I can't even, it's the most bizarre case of all. Because Bartomeu was the one who said that Abidal's renewal was ready and he would be, automatically implemented once he played a few matches. And he was crying. He left by the back door while Rossell was laughing by his side. And then obviously Abidal, got close to Bartomeu. That craziness about the liver transplant that I won't get into here, but Busquets remained. Xavi and Iniesta were ones who did have a more proper goodbye. I think to beat Xavi's goodbye is impossible because Xavi left with the treble. He left in the best period possible. Iniesta's departure was really sad as well. But it was obvious that all of these players, especially Xavi and Iniesta, could have stayed in a diminished role to help the transition for the next generation of, Barcelona players, Masia graduates. But there wasn't anyone to make this process with. Do you think they're going to do it with Rakitic and Arda Turan? They're going to do it with Song back then? With André Gomes? There wasn't. Look at how Pedro Rodriguez left this club. He scored his 100th goal for Barcelona, giving us the Super Cup, European Super Cup title, and he left. Look at how David Villa left this club. He was abandoned after a bad injury in the Club World Cup in Japan, where we crushed Santos. Then we gifted him to Atletico Madrid, and he won the league. We did the same with Suarez. He won the league. This club is a crushing machine of great players. And the only one who remained until the end, as long as he could, who was ready to take a 50% slash on his salary to stay, was Messi. And the door was shut on his face. And Mundo Deportivo, Sport, TV3, And all, especially the Spanish, né, the Madrid journals, attacked Lionel Messi, doubted him, called him a dictator, said that he was choosing the players, said that he was choosing the coaches. And today, once more, we will remember how brave of a person and a player Messi is, and that he did all he could to stay. And he told us that Laporta didn't even ask him to play for free or to even lower him his salary more. Just said it wasn't possible. And it hurts. It's hurting Messi since it happened. It was clearly hurting him today. It will hurt when he has to leave his house, when he has to go, apparently he's going to Paris. Bartomeu Popas in the media asked Messi to play for free. Yeah, because you see, I thank everybody who's watching. It's a sad day for all of us. I'm making an effort to be here and to keep a smile on my face and to, not start attacking the criminals who put us here, but I'm here to be there for you guys, for other people who watch this, because I know the last few days were insane. And there's a lot of bullshit, there's a lot of lies going around that I have spent a decade trying to, make things clear, contextualize the history and all the other things that people do not know or talk about. And yeah, it's tough. So let me said here, it's a lot of questions here. Do you think we should trust this version of Laporta after he said he wouldn't prosecute the old board for their crimes, and now it seems like he somewhat betrayed Messi? Listen, as I said before, Wendell, I don't think Laporta has a choice. He will have to sue the other, the former boards. And yes, he wasn't transparent about the whole thing regarding Messi. The way he did it with the Instagram, the Twitter, the badly edited video to say goodbye, the fact that Messi did a presser not inside the pitch before the Gamper match day, this was badly handled. We can't defend it. And Laporta has to be really transparent to say when he was informed about the financial situation, what was the limitations, the financial fair play that La Liga was applying. He has to make a presser with a PowerPoint presentation, with the documentation, with the emails. And if he doesn't do it, the fans have to go after these answers, just like Cor Blaugrana, who is an institution who is directly responsible for the vote of non-confidence of Bartomeu for going through. They organized, they got all the thousands of signatures needed for Bartomeu's downfall. And I'm certain that the good people of Cor Blaugrana, I have great friends that I made over the years there, will be at Laporta's throat to get the information we need, because what happened on the last few days, we are obliged, we have the right to know every single step, every single limitation, because Laporta won't go by just by his words and his charm. We will not accept losing Lionel Messi when he wanted to retire at our club, even after having his heart broken since 2015 and has become a joke in European football. Even obviously he was doing all he could with Argentina, winning La Liga titles and everything. Do you think Bartomeu and Russell will get what they deserve, or will they be free? Listen, my dear Reddy. If you study politics, if you are aware of your surroundings, you know that powerful, rich people rarely are punished. I have to remind you that even though people worldwide know that Messi and other players, Cristiano, Dani Alves, are tax defrauders, as they should. I'm not defending it. But these people, the less powerful people in the football pyramid, when they commit this kind of crimes, because I need to remind you that Messi was 18 years old. His father had really he fucked up, as people do regarding taxes. And the Spanish prosecutor said that Messi was the leader of a criminal enterprise when he went after Messi for tax defraudation. And Florentino Perez, for instance, received €1 billion from Spanish money from the government of Spain for one of his business that fucked up. Google ACS Florentino Perez, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, do I think Bartomeu and Rossell will get what they deserve? I don't know. Obviously, Rossell to spend the 1 year, 2 years, I don't know how many the time he spent, is because people, and I helped that process, linked him to money laundering in Andorra, and the business he had here in Brazil with Ricardo Teixeira, the former Brazilian FA president, and he was locked up. Bartomeu went to prison because it was proven that he was using the club's money to do his shady deals, to divert it, to spy on people. So the proof is there. This club is in $1.5 billion in debt right now. So the proof is there. How will the board react? Laporta react? And I need to remind you that Laporta and his former board members were persecuted by Rossell and Bartomeu for years in the courts. Rossell and Bartomeu cooked the books, the financial books, to lie that Laporta had left the club in 2010 in financial losses, because they used the 2003. He used the financial results from before Laporta took over. It was a legal battle that lasted for years, and in the end, Laporta was found not guilty, and that he had left the club in a surplus. So, Laporta has the motive, has the proof, and has the vengeance to do it. Will he do it? Will the Spanish courts punish them? We don't know. On Font's story, I do think he's the most ever prepared presidential candidate. Follow him for years, and he had a very good structure. Wanted to copy the Ajax model of running a club. Yes, Oscar, I do agree that in theory, Font is really strong. The problem is, and we have to be really, really careful when you talk about this. Laporta was this guy who came with a different management model back in 2003. All this stuff with Beckham, Ronaldinho, and Macia, and Eto'o, blah, 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 all of this stuff that we watched. There's that documentary. I don't know if it's still up on YouTube, but it's great. So Font is just the updated version of that. The thing is, Laporta always fought against the big media, the media that was giving the power to the old Catalan elites that has leached this club for decades, who has destroyed this club, allowed the best players in the history of football to leave. And Font was getting close to these old powerful people, was putting people off Mundo Deportivo on his board members, and I would never fully trust someone who lies in bed with our enemies. I told this personally to him because you guys know me. I don't take shit. I don't feel ashamed to bring up any subject. And his response was, it was bullshit, that I was reading the situation wrong. And in the end, I sent him my longer explanation, and he didn't even listen to me. So you make your own conclusions of what I'm talking about. Opinion regarding Jordi Cruyff in a sporting director leadership role. Is this a step in direct direction? Listen, I don't know. I really do only judge people based on what they do once they land in Barcelona. I obviously respect Jordi Cruyff. I always remind people that the fact that he's called Jordi is an anti-fascist, anti-colonial move by Cruyff, who was forbidden from registering his own son as Jordi because people in Catalonia in the 70s were forbidden from using Catalan names and had to use Jorge, the Spanish version, because of the domination, the cultural, the repression that the fascists were applying against the Catalan people and still do today in other fashions, as we saw when they held the referendum in 2015. So Jordi Cruyff means a lot, but if his name and his track record alone give me enough certainty that he will do right by us, that will be a good name. Barcelona is a unique club in several ways, and I think it's only when you get to work inside it that we'll be able to tell how it's going to, work or not. Font started well, but succumbed under the pressure and eventually started doing what Rossell and Bartomeu did. Don't think he'd be any good. I agree. Font is a sad opportunity. He does not love the club. Taking advantage of the current situation to spread his own propaganda, he is in for selfish reasons. Despite the improper managing of the Messi situation, do you think that we can say Laporta will go after what is best for the club? Renato, I just hope Laporta is able to avoid the club for going bankrupt. Honestly, I'm giving the vote of confidence. I'm believing Laporta that he chose to be the guy who let Messi go in a wrong, cold, rushed fashion because he really thinks that there's the possibility that this club can go bankrupt. So, if we are able to survive the next few months, if we are able to offload the several players that should have never arrived in the first place and should have left months ago, I think from the information, from the scenario he's painting us, that it will be good enough. But let's see. 100 agree with Lucas. The only reason Messi survived this long was because he was Messi. And any other star player would have left or would have been easily booted. That's it, people. That's it. I'm going to finish the last final hour. I will be live streaming for another hour. Talking about how I know that Messi will be fine. Messi's career has been a constant stream of heartbreaks and greatness, heartbreaks and greatness, heartbreaks and greatness. And he'll do it again. He always does it. He finds a way. And the faith that I have in him and that most of us have in him has been earned by his effort, has been earned by his honesty and his greatness. I'm certain he will do the same. I do hope, sincerely hope, that our club is able to be fine as well, to be reconstructed as well, in the manner that we deserve, not in a hastened, rushed version that we know that never goes well. What's next, Lucas? It seems that this is the end, bro. My friend Amine, listen. This club, what we are seeing right now, I have said this time and time again. The mess that we are living in the last few days is the reality of FC Barcelona. This club, the majority of time, at least since we can say after the Second World War, since the 50s until today, is bad management. is disaster, is no titles, is huge players leaving. But Cruyff coming in the 70s, Cruyff returning as coach in 88, Laporta being elected in 2003, Guardiola coming as coach in 2008. These 4 special periods were the best periods, were the moments that defined why this club is mais qu'un club, more than a club. So, the history, the knowledge, the way to do it to build us back is available. We have the masters are still alive, we have the book, we have the coaches, we have the players. But will this structure, will these feelings, will this knowledge be enough to rebuild a club that apparently is in serious dangers of going bankrupt in a time that football is totally different from 2003, that we don't have the luxury to put UNICEF in our shirts and not some sort of, advertisement, but where we won't have the luxury of selling the naming rights of the Camp Nou, and several decisions that either we go with the flow or we won't be able to compete with the countries that we know really well what I'm talking about, and they're using their endless source of money to launder a little bit of this money and to buy themselves respect, political power in Europe, and you know what I'm saying. Lucas, does anyone have a more punchable face than Marçal Lorente of Mundo Deportivo? It's hard to find. Marçal Lorente and all the liars. The old timers here will remember Pelicano, Pere Arnal, one of the worst, disgusting people that are getting paid to attack our club, to allow the old vampires, as always, to leech our club is unacceptable. My brother Jelani, I love you. I know how hard you take this. You know how hard I'm taking it as well. But you know me, I never back down from a fight. I may take a little time to lick my wounds, but I always be here fighting the good fight. And you've been with me since time immemorial, my whole time in Twitter, learning and growing up with Barcelona has been alongside you, and I love you dearly, my friend. Barca today remind me of the 2002 squad. Many underperforming, highly paid players, a financial mess with a sprinkle of young catalysts. Can we reset and relaunch like then again? If we are able to not go bankrupt, I think yes. I hate rational Barcelona Twitter. Let's talk about these people, okay? I was reminding with someone who has been with me on Twitter for a long time that when I was, telling people, hey, listen to me. If we start buying songs and Arda Turans and Matias and bringing people like Luis Enrique, who is nothing different than a younger version of Mourinho, who is way closer to Mourinho than he was to Guardiola. If we bring Valverde, if we bring Setien, but do not give him time and allow him have to deal with the bullshit that was already there. If we bring Koeman, we are fucking ourselves up. We're saying that every day. And I will say his name, obviously, that ridiculous individual called Kevin Williams, who still has thousands of followers, who think he's an enlightened human being. He was someone who once said that he would be okay to sell Messi in 2014 to buy a strange list of players, including Jackson Martinez. And when I used to go and expose what these people were spreading, with their ignorance, with their bad taste, with their total lack of knowledge of what this club constitutes, I used to lose hundreds of followers, and guys like that would gain like 1,000 followers in a day because of a fight with Lucas Rezende. There will always be people that says that the revolutionary way, that risking for the beautiful sport, for La Masia, for jogo de possession, tiki-taka, whatever you want, that we need to be more conservative, that you need to be more certain, that we, the Cruyffists, shouldn't be dogmatic, that we can be mediocre, that you shouldn't normalize greatness, that there will be moments that we have to lower our expectations. And now we are without Messi and with a $1.5 billion debt. How did that work out? How did the mediocrity work out? Are you enjoying it? Are you having fun? Did they have fun seeing Bayern Munich humiliate us not once but twice in the Champions League? By 7 and by 8, Liverpool, Rome, Juventus, Atletico, PSG. There is nothing rational about letting go and doubting what built the best team in the history of football and the best player in the history of football. And this is not because I'm a Barcelona fan, because, it's because no one did what this guy did for 13 straight years, from 2008 until today. No team in history won the 6 trophies available. Laporta was about to do it. Guardiola was about to do it last season, but couldn't. So, obviously, there will be times when the Masia well will dry up, when the market won't allow us to have available players to keep the juego de posición, the Cruyffism that we believe in, keeping possession and triangulations and movement and using the wings and everything. But these people were defending Bartomeu, Rossell, Luis Enrique, Valverde. They are defending Koeman now. And what we saw was, from the knowledge available, from the success that Guardiola team built, that Real Madrid first went with Mourinho and violence and all we know about those years, but then bought Kroos, bought Modric, and even though they had all the help in the world in the Champions League, so you ask them how much they enjoyed the last decade, because I didn't like it. Yeah, I remember that they were even saying that we can even afford color ink for the printers at the club's office. Yeah, Roger, that's how Russell took over. A bit mum out that Messi is going to PSG. It's not his fault, obviously, but I wish it was somewhere else. Abhishek, I agree with you, my friend, to be honest. Obviously, I hoped that he would go to Manchester City, obviously. There's no better place for him to finish his career than with Pep, if he's not able to be with Barcelona. But to be really honest with you, and I know people here maybe not agree with me, and that's okay, I would prefer right now to see Messi in Chelsea than in PSG. There's no argument with me. Obviously, the romantic in me would like him to be in Newell's, in Argentina, to win the Libertadores 1 or 2 times, to build a strong team. So after his home in Catalonia was closed on his face, he would be like live the South American football that he couldn't in his childhood. But PSG represents the worst in football. It's the French imperialism, it's the money laundering from the oil producers, it's, you know, it's Neymar and his 70 matches in 4 years in PSG. It's a league that's really poor, one of the poorest leagues in Europe. And because of the quality of this league, no team, not even that Olympique with Juninho that won like 8 French league titles, straight titles, won the Champions League. They haven't won the Champions League since the 90s. And actually they only won it one time in the history of the European competitions. So I really would prefer to see Messi going to the Premier League, even if it was Chelsea, because I remember Tuchel. I respect Tuchel. He won the Champions League, like it or not. I know that that Guardiola performance was a disaster, but I would prefer to see Messi shutting up the mouths of the British, of the imperialist journalists who have been at his heels, who have been attacking him just because he humiliated them in Rome and in Wembley. After Wembley, Messi and the British press were over forever. So right now, me, and you know how much I hate Chelsea as well, would prefer Messi in a Chelsea church than PSG. But it's Messi. I'm sure wherever he lands, most likely PSG, he will be the beast that he is and will do his best to win the titles. Tebas is an opportunist fascist prick though. Why didn't he enforce financial rules before? He can't just blame Barca and enforce rules now when he ignored them before and allowed the clowns to ruin FCB. It's spot on, Oscar, right? I think that dealing with Tebas, it's really like clear that even though he's a literal employee of all the clubs in Primera División in Spain, he won't ever have the best interests of Barca at heart, and especially after, you know, seeing that Barcelona was in a weaker financial position, to think that Tebas would help us because of Messi's legacy, never thought. Objective thoughts about the Super League. Guys, I will talk about the Super League, okay? I will just ask you, let's do the following. I know that you guys are saying lots of comments. I have been answering them for the last few minutes, but if I don't focus on what I want, that is to honor Messi's career, this live stream will be too long. So I will be answering questions for the next 20 minutes. I'm still going from the older ones, so I will try to answer quickly. So if you have any more questions, try to send on the next 20 minutes, because when it's in 20 minutes, I will start talking about Messi's career, because it's something that I constructed in my head to talk today. But the Super League, so come on. Guys, the Super League will happen, okay? You have to put it in your heads. All the bullshit that was said, that these greedy clubs, they are destroying European football, they are destroying the smaller clubs, are coming from the powerful people in Europe who has been taking the decisions, who have been profiting from football, and who are profiting now for the last decades. It's obvious that in 2021, nobody needs UEFA. Nobody needs the Spanish Federation, the English Federation. That the clubs themselves can organize and rule their own competitions and take their best interest at heart. These people, the federations, UEFA, are not there to look after for football or the smaller clubs. They're there to look for themselves and to make money for the big companies. That's the reality. So, I need to remind you that there was a time where the local federations ruled the league competitions. It's historical, right? And then it came a time when the clubs became the organizers of their own league, and because of that freedom, they were able to organize in a fashion that helped everyone. Yeah? Okay. I have to remind you that I'm Brazilian, and in Brazil, to this day, there isn't a league competition. The Brazilian championship, the Brazilian league, is organized, ruled. You know, the sponsors are chosen by the Brazilian Federation, which is seriously corrupt. So yes, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, and we really have to know what is Laporta's link with these people. They will eventually build a super league. And it's not by itself the end of football. It's the end of the old European powers and their grasp on football. So I don't have, at first, negative view of the Super League by itself. Because obviously it can't be built in a way that will help and give money to the smaller clubs. It can be done. But if you guys have learned anything from the last decade, is that the powerful people in Europe will use the media and will use, the ideological weapons to attack the ones who are, getting in the way of their wishes or causing them any sort of loss, financial loss. And do you really think that UEFA, that the national federations, would not do everything they could, including inventing lies? Because, seriously guys, come on. After 1 decade of Rossell and Bartomeu, do you honestly believe that Laporta, with a bankrupt club on his hands, would give Messi away because of the Super League? Guys, Laporta would get crushed politically by the Mundo Deportivo, the same media, as always in the same instant. So they need to keep feeding the lie, linking the thing about, the Super League. And am I putting my hand on the fire and saying that Laporta maybe isn't, in some sort of his equation, focusing the Super League? No. I only believe in Leo Messi. I believed in Iniesta. I believed in Xavi. I believed in Puyol. I believed in the people who are the real fighters. Laporta has a lot to prove. But I do really hope that you guys be really critical of who is attacking the Super League, who, what kind of things are being said, because European football is really not being well run and, being really at the best interest of the fans. It's bullshit. You guys know this, right? I don't need to get into detail. What are your expectations for this season? I don't care. I don't care. Listen, guys, I am retired from this, I endured Luis Enrique, Tata Martino, Valverde. I endured everything. I will not follow what Ronald Koeman is doing. Laporta, I could understand his thinking of, back then, not now. Let me keep Koeman because then he will give some stability and then I can bring the coach I want. Let's say Xavi, for instance. Do you really think I have the energy to follow another mediocre coach with the same tired old squad, while Messi will be somewhere, you know, rewriting his history once more, I don't care. I just hope the club is not bankrupt and that we start seeing, the Pedris, the Ricky Puigs, La Masia and the Blaine style get back to what we believe because, to be honest, we have been seeing 4-2-3-1 in secret or less apparent ways since 2014, guys. Come on. I'm tired. I have given a lot of energy, but I do want to announce that I will write a book about the last, 20 years, about the last decade. I think I owe it to, to myself for the thousands of hours, for all I have learned and worked on regarding this club. I owe it to my several friends that I make. They are here: Oscar, Jelani, Raimo, Maria. People who traveled all over the world to come to my wedding in 2019. And I owe it to Messi, I owe it to Guardiola, I owe it to Johan Cruyff. So I will be working to help our club somehow, or at least to make sure that this crazy history that we lived on the last decade is told by someone who is truly passionate, who knows this club, knows this history, and is not afraid to attack the powerful people that have put us on this condition. Kevin Williams is always a laugh. If Laporta knew the financial situation was this bad, why sign Depay, Agüero, etc.? My friend, as I said before, I really do think that Laporta has to come really clear at the date. What was the exact date that he received the new numbers from, checking the financial books and whatnot? Because these signings, as you well said, either show that he was really arrogant to think that either A, he was going to be able to offload the players and lower the wages by himself, which he didn't, or that he and B, that by these signings themselves, that things were able, to accommodate at least to sign with Messi, right? So Laporta needs to be more transparent. Right now, the information that we have is not enough. I do hope that, as I said, that independent soci groups like El Cor Blaugrana are able to organize, to be able to demand that this information is made public, because Laporta, after how he handled Messi's departure, his time is up regarding being able to hide things. It's not feasible anymore. People should watch The Good, the Bad, and the Revolution on Lucas' channel. I hope the Revolution takes us to better days and competent management. Thank you, Kartik. It's a video that I did here and show what I think about the future of the club. Any idea why City didn't try to sign Messi? Is it because of long-term playing reasons or not changing that temporarily? Mohammed, I think that if Laporta wanted to, not leave it to the last moment, to not be as traumatic as it was, and let Messi know, let Guardiola know, let his old friends that now run City, Ferran Soriano, etc. I think Chiqui is still there. That we could have seen Messi in City shirt. But with the financial fair play and whatnot in the Premier League as well, I think that's what happened. I think Pep is really pissed that he didn't get to enjoy Messi, especially after losing the Champions League so painfully last season. I've been sober for 7 months. The situation is really testing me. I'm so close to a mental breakdown. Someone give me a good reason not to relapse. My friend Shaquille, I'm here for you. So guys, I I will answer Shaquille with all the attention because, as I said, this live stream is about being here for my old friends, my old followers, and for every single Barcelona fan who, after unbearable years, we were getting the president, a flawed president, but the one we kind of wanted, a flawed coach, but one that we accept for the current situation. And we were getting Messi. Messi landed to renew for 5 years. And out of nothing, with lots of incomplete information, we saw someone that with whom I'm the same age as Messi. I've grown with Messi. Lots of people here are either older, a bit older, a little bit younger. Messi has been a part of our routines, of our lives. On the tough days, he was there. On the happy days, he was there. He was there. He gave it all. And I want to talk about being really honest regarding mental health. As you know, I was supposed to be doing the live stream with my old friend Roy Nimmer on his channel right now, but due to scheduling conflicts, we will do it this week. And I was talking to him that even though I have been following Barcelona, as a fan, but as a more occasional fan, and remember, I'm an old guy, so to follow Barcelona in Brazil in the 90s with no internet, it was difficult. And even in the Ronaldinho era was easier. But football for me has always been a place where I was safe from my mental health issues, from whatever hardships I was going on. And I want to give this example linking how I started to cover Barcelona professionally, which I did professionally in 2010. I was obviously following closely, watching the matches, reading something here and there, but not really, let me learn Catalan, let me learn Spanish, let me read everything, let me understand how this superb club was built, how, everything. Everything I do with 100% of my attention. And as you know, Messi, every single goal that he scores, he celebrates by pointing his fingers up to his abuela, Cilia, his grandmother, Cilia, which was the lady who took him to practice, who, allowed him to live his passion, and who forced a few of the coaches when Messi was young and really chiquito to allow him to play. And I have to tell you guys that I started following and covering and studying Barcelona deeply when I was dealing with the grandmother that raised me. Her name was Ozana. Zanita was her nickname. I followed her battle with Alzheimer's between 2010 and 11. It was a time where I used to work full-time, I'm a lawyer, go to university at night, and then sleep with her at various hospitals, various clinics. And the last time she was put in a hospital bed was on May 2011. The same month of the Wembley final, the same period that we lived so happily, that we won the titles, that the season 11-12 started. We crushed Real Madrid and Cesc Fabregas, which we thought was good for us. And on October 31st, 2011, my grandmother passed away. If wasn't for this club, if it wasn't for Messi, for Laporta, for Cruyff, my life would have been really more difficult to deal with it. It's really tough. When you're there, when you're seeing someone you love, it's awful. And it's not exclusive to me. I know that most guys here, most people here, like Shaquille, football is a safe haven for us. It's a way of art. It's one of the most beautiful sports. It's one of the sports more with the most possibilities. And 2010, 2011, 2012, not only I was given the opportunity, the luxury of following the best team ever built, the best player ever built, I was learning a rich culture. The Catalan culture is a culture of resistance, is a culture of anti-fascism, anti-colonialism, anti-imperialism. It's a lot of beautiful stuff surrounds and constitutes this club. And I can certainly say that my life became easier in some aspects and harder in others. People who followed me on Twitter know how hard it was for my mental health to deal with the attacks and people taking me out of context, people wishing that I die of cancer. I'm here, motherfuckers. And I told you this day would come and we are here. So I'm alive to tell you and remind you that will always be a motherfucker like me who knows what this club is about, who really understands and doesn't spend time with conspiracy theories and talking about transfers and dreaming wet dreams about transfers, to go about the reality of what constitutes FC Barcelona. And in the process, I made superb friends, some of my best friends to this day. As I said, people who flew all over to come to my wedding. My wedding happened 10 days before Messi scored that superb goal against Liverpool in the first leg of the semi-final. I really thought I was getting married with Messi winning the Champions League again, but I couldn't. And that, I think, was the moment, both for Messi and me, that I knew that I had arrived in a moment of my life that I couldn't allow myself to remain getting hurt by Bartomeu and his coaches and his mediocre decisions. But what I can tell to anyone who has, mental health issues, who either in their own lives or especially after this pandemic, I don't need to tell you, I really hope that your countries, your families are doing okay with the pandemic. Here in Brazil, it's a genocide. I have a fascist who has killed 600,000 people and a left who will allow dozens of thousands more to die and not remove the fascists before the elections next year. That's my reality now. That's why my priorities have changed, and now I work by educating people politically. Mental health is about making connections with yourself, understanding the traumas that you have growing up as a child, especially as a teenager. Being able to understand, to concentrate, to focus on your problems, to work on them. So please, grab a Buddhist book, go read Thich Nhat Hanh, which is a great from Vietnam Buddhist monk. Try to understand yourself before putting energy in craziness like any passion like FC Barcelona. But when it comes to people who are human beings, everybody has mental issues, my friends. It's just a matter of who is working on them, who has the environmental, the people around him to help him take care. But everybody is suffering. Suffering is universal. FC Barcelona football, following this, following the greats like Messi, will always help. But I do hope that the relationship that we have with this is about understanding the human beings on the other side. What drives them, the pains, the suffering that that accompany them. And especially to make good connections and to make real human connections, because those are the people that will be there for you when the dark days like August 8th, 2021 is an awful day for every single football lover in the world, especially FC Barcelona fans, Messi fans. So I do hope that you guys take care of each other, take care of yourselves, each other, your community, the people close to you. Because we deserve to be alive, we deserve to be happy, we deserve to be enjoying the best that life has to offer, and it has to do with connection with nature, it has to do with being able to have the basic necessities to live comfortably and healthily and eating well as a human being. And culture, and football is culture, is popular culture, is the most beautiful, the most artistic sport available, is something that has helped me since a little child, and I do hope that it's a tool to help people remain healthy and happy to be alive every single day. So I love you, Shaquille. If things ever, get too heavy, hit me up on my PM, my private messages, DM on Twitter, and I do hope that you are able to have people who love you around you, people who listen to you and you are able to listen to them, and especially to have a professional, mental health professional available. If you can't afford it, see if there is any type of social program, if your government provides you with any way. And I love you, my friend. I hope that you go through whatever you're going through, that we go through together what we're living as FC Barcelona fans, and that you have a long and happy and prosperous life. Take care. I will jump here to the most common, to the most recent comments. Thank you, Reddy. Who do you think is the worst Barcelona coach this century? This century is easy. Just look at Antique, the trashes from the 2003 era. Those are the worst. You can't beat them. Thank you, my friend. I will. Today I have decided that this will be my long time project, and I will do it with all my attention and my love. Gerardo Romero, someone has agreement with Bradway, but the player doesn't want to leave. At what point can we start blaming players themselves? We can start blaming them for years. Listen, we have to talk about the players, okay? How many times during the Rossell, the Bartomeu era, have we seen when shit was hard, the players being blamed, even though it was clear that the fault was with the board? How many times? So, get Braithwaite, for instance. The dude has a contract. He isn't obliged to go anywhere just because a club made agreement with Barca. because he isn't a slave. And usually, a different club has an agreement with the player, and after it's done, you go and work the deal with the club. So if Barca is shopping Braithwaite around and haven't been able to communicate with him, to make a deal with him, so that he leaves, it has to do with how Barca is dealing with this, you know? Because as I said in the beginning of the live stream, the only way that you can cancel a contract is that you pay all the fees. If you want to force Braithwaite out, you have to do what the contract dictates. And it will be really expensive. So it has to do with who signed those contracts, why the wages are the way that they are, why the clauses allow the players to do this. And yeah, man, it's hard. We have had endless talks about how stupid sauces can be. They voted for Rosario Nobita. How feasible is the possibility of foreigners become sauces becoming easier? What would this mean for FCB, Renato? Renato, listen up. So, I really don't like this stupid sauces, people can't vote, because people who say this forget that we have ideological tools named newspapers, TV programs, radio programs, Twitter, and all this stuff besides the people alive and dealing in their community, especially in Barcelona, who makes people believe that the version of the conservatives, of the, of the Nunistas, of the Catalan press, is the dominant one. Victor Font, with his Diari Ara, could have been one newspaper to be an oppositional newspaper, to be really tough with these people. He never played this part. We don't have an ideological tool at our disposal to help stop the production or diminish the production of stupid sauces. Just look at your own countries. How many people are die-hard conservatives even though they are in the shit, unemployed, without food, whatever? We need to stop with this stupid thing. The possibility of anyone to be able to understand the reality of this club and to support Cruyffism and for the betterment of this club is feasible. Everyone can change. That's biology. That's human life. That's how this big, thing called Earth works. It changes. Impermanence is the rule. So I think it's how we want to educate people to point that, hey, we saw this in the 50s, we saw this in the 70s, in the 90s, in the 80s, the 2000s. We saw this with Messi. How about you come over and let us stop this craziness? Because if we think we'll be able to, produce a special source of sauces and let go of these people for the conservatives, we are done. Thank you, Messi Jack. Really sorry to hear, brother. May she rest in peace. Thank you. Going through the same with my grandmother's Alzheimer's now, but I'm halfway across the world from her. It's heartbreaking. I feel you're praying, Roger. And yeah, man, we deserve to honor the people who, we love. And the coping mechanisms that we have is football is one of them. I hope you are well. I hope that your grandmother go through this process in the most humane and the less painful way possible. I love you, my friend, and I really hope you are able to go through this with the most serene fashion possible. Man, thanks for sharing that personal story. My granddad went through Alzheimer too, really bad, till he died. It's horrible stuff to deal with, and seeing a loved one go through. Yes, my friend. And I really think it's when we talk about this stuff and contextualize why we decide to spend so many thousands of hours with just football or whatever passions we have, because it's when we develop this passion, these warm feelings in our hearts, that we are able to deal with the hardships of life, be it taking care of ourselves or the people that we love. So, yeah. I feel you, Lucas. My grandmother is currently suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's. It's so difficult because Barca has helped me through so many difficulties of my life. Now I feel lost. My friend, you will always be able to connect with yourself and the things that are really important near you. And as I said, I'm available to talk. And it's really this human connection that I made here to tell my story. How many feedback I received. There are only 30, 40 people watching here. How many people went through the same? How many people in this hardship looked for football, looked for Barcelona, looked for Messi? Our lives are really similar. Our existence is really similar. We are human. We are all human. I'm Brazilian. I'm a loud dude. I'm crazy. I'm a communist. I'm myself. You guys have your own things going on. But the human experience, it's really similar, and that's how we find each other, and we see that we need to fight the bad shit together and to enjoy the big smiles together as well. Could you talk about some of your friends and the good old Barca Twitter? Did you talk to anyone recently, and what are their thoughts currently? Halfcat, thank you. Yeah, I keep in touch. As I said, after the 2019 semi-final with Liverpool, I got married, and then I went through a serious surgery that went bad. I spent 4 months recovering, and then the pandemic started, and into 2020. So I keep in touch with Heimo Pfaffhausen. I keep in touch with Maria Inês from Chile. Heimo is from Switzerland. I keep in touch with Kaustav Fukam from India. I keep in touch with Oscar, who keeps moving, so I don't know where he is right now. I keep in touch with some other friends who the name is Jelani. I keep in touch with people from the Middle East, with Sulaim. I keep in touch with a lot of people. Obviously, I'm tired. It's 1 hour and 40. But people are doing well. Most are, away from Barca after all the debacles. But I have a plan to, during the next few days, the few weeks, to have live streams with people from Catalonia, from all over the world who went through this craziness, to talk, to interview them. I decided to do this by myself because I have a really busy week ahead instead of my work schedule and everything. So I wanted to do this by myself, but I will be bringing Jordi Pascual here. I'll be bringing the guys. I'll be interviewing my old mentors, the journalists, Angel Iturriaga, Frederic Porta. I will see if I will get Martí Perarnal, who literally is the man responsible for me becoming the writer that I am today and the communicator that I am today. I owe a lot to Perarnal and Perarnal magazine. And yeah. What's your Twitter handle? Is mine. Add me. Good to have Barca fans to speak with always. Yes, man. We have to keep these connections going, guys. We have to keep renewing, expanding, because the good fight will always be there and will always be the minority. But the history of Rosell and Bartomeu show us that a single Barcelona soci who owned a pharmacy in the countryside in Catalonia was brave enough to see the bullshit with Rosell, to sue the club to show the documents of the Neymar transfer, and was due to the bravery of Jordi Cassis, who went through a serious persecution and attack that everything unraveled regarding Rossell, and the same with the people who form Cor Blaugrana, who organized, got the votes to kick Bartomeu out. So it doesn't matter how many we are, if we are truthful, if we are serious, and if we put our time and effort to work to create change, we can do it. We are unstoppable, and that's why they attack us and they try to diminish us. Thank you for that, my friend. It means a lot to me. I love you too. Keep fighting the good fight. Take care, my friend. Your favorite Messi performance and goal? Champions League semi-final, 2011, Bernabeu. That's my favorite. Now that Messi is gone, and considering La Liga's rule regarding kit numbers, so who do you think should wear their number 10 next? I don't care. I don't think anyone should wear the 10 in Barcelona other than Messi. I think it's, at least for the next decade, I think it makes no sense, especially considering how Messi left, so no one should wear it. I think if they gave it to Agüero now, if Agüero really stays, that okay, I would understand, but it should be retired. Thanks for sharing some personal stuff. I also appreciate that you take the time to do this. Hopefully we'll have more opportunities like this one. You're a hell of a guy, Lucas. Keep it up. Thank you, Renato. Lots of familiar names. We love that, Lucas. Looking forward to the next few days. Answer your book. Are there any chance of the Group 14 making a comeback? So, my friend, Group 14, as you know, it started as Group Sunyol, which was the Barcelona president who was executed by the fascists in the 40s. And the reason we have to change the name of the club, I don't know if people remember this or were aware, is that the family of Sunyol got close to Bartomeu and warned Group Sunyol that they didn't want the name used in an oppositional, group as ours. So we changed it to Group 14. I'm really proud of my role in founding Group 14, because it was my one of my first ideas of, look, we need to have an ideological tool against these people. We need to create our own news. We need to organize amongst ourselves. As you know, Rafael Hernandez is someone who doesn't exist. He uses a fake name. He's someone who, over time, I saw who he is and I didn't want to work with him. It happened with other people. I don't hate anyone, guys. Life is too hard for me to spend time and energy hating anyone. Be the guys from Kevin Williams, that Ahmad, that person who was crazy to attack me and whatnot. So I do give all my support to Cor Blaugrana. I welcome everyone who is watching, who will watch us, to follow them on social media, to talk to them. If you are a saucy, if you want to become a saucy, you can help. There are resistance group who are about transparency, who are about Cruyff, who are about La Masia. I trust them with all my heart. I respect their job. And I think if Barcelona, as it looks like, is in a serious peril of going bankrupt, if it stopped, it would be only because Cor Blaugrana, together with other groups in Catalonia, were brave enough. They organized to get the signatures to put the voto de censura against Bartomeu, to relieve him from power, because if he had stayed, it would be irreversible. We would have to sell the club, sell the stadium, they would have burned everything. So my friends, I will now, 20 minutes after I wanted, to finish this live stream talking about my connection with Messi, how I followed his career, and how I'm certain that Messi will be fine. Wherever Messi goes now, I'm certain he will be fine. He will give his best, because Messi's career is a constant roller coaster of pain, and heartbreaks, and big successes, and historical accomplishments, and more heartbreaks, and it's an up and down. He was up here a month ago when he won here in my country the Copa America against Brazil in the final. He was up here. He remained here when he was renewing with the club he wanted. But now today is one of the saddest days of Leo Messi's life, and we all cried with him. We saw his tears. And it was transparent to us that he did all he could to stay. Messi is brave since he was this little, basically a disabled child, a South American Argentinian child with a physical difficulty regarding the growth hormone, who wasn't accepted, who wasn't taken care of by anyone in Argentina, not even the richest clubs, not even River Plate. No one could afford the $1,000 a month treatment for this little guy to grow. So if it wasn't for Messi's effort and for his unstoppable nature, please, when I finish this final part of my live stream, when you finish watching this or before you go to sleep, just type Messi es un perro, Hernan Cacheri, or Messi is a dog. I don't know if it's translated in English. To be reminded of the nature of Lionel Messi, of what constitutes, what the fighting spirit that constructed the best football player in the history of the sport, one of the most successful, prolific, and talented athletes of all time. And he is someone who was ripped from his friends, from his mother, from his family, from his brothers and sisters when he was 13 years old. The only place that saw the brilliance of Messi was a Barcelona who was in ruins, as pretty much as we are right now. Barcelona arrived in Barcelona in the midst of a crisis and is leaving Barcelona in the midst of a crisis. In between, he became the best player of all time. In between, he won everything. He won 6 titles in a year. He won the triplete in 2015. He won with Argentina, finally. And this little guy went through hell time and time again. The cold in Europe, the bigger guys always attacking him, tackling him. The coaches who, try to put a notch down in him. The fact that he had the year of 2006, which is a year that I like to point out as a really important year in Messi's career. Obviously, he won the league, he won the Champions League in Paris, even though he wasn't allowed to play. But he was a Lionel Messi that, with 19 years old, not only was able to score the hat-trick that he did against Real Madrid in the Camp Nou, was a Lionel Messi that, due to injury and because he was a young player, didn't play a single minute in the Paris final, the Champions League we won 2006, and who got a generation of Argentinian players in the Argentina national team who was good, who was structured, who could have won that 2006 World Cup. But a mediocre coach, who you know really well who I'm talking about, he didn't put Messi in the quarterfinal against Germany. He put a random bad player. He didn't trust in the 19-year-old Messi, and Messi wasn't able to do it. Wasn't able to. Argentina was disqualified. And how did Messi react? How did Messi bounce back after 2006, where his coach in Barcelona and his coach in Argentina did not fully believe in him to give him the minutes and the freedom that we know he needed? He started working better on his fitness levels, which we know only truly became professional under Guardiola, but he started taking a little bit more care of himself. And he won the Olympic gold with Argentina in the Beijing Olympics. This was before Guardiola took over. And then obviously came the good times. It came the Sestete, that 2008, 2009 season, which was perfection every single way. I think most of us here still dream of that 6-2 match where we could have scored 10 goals at the Bernabeu. We saw everything. Messi arrived at the 2009-2010 season with all the all the confidence in the world. He had won everything. He was being recognized as the best player in the world. He had the World Cup in 2010. He still had Guardiola. He could win back-to-back league titles. But then came the robbery of Inter Milan and Mourinho in the semi-final. We know we were supposed to be on that final. First there was the volcano that, made the team arrive tired in Italy, as you know. And then the robbery, the Pedrito goal, which was wrongly disallowed in the Camp Nou. And he played a World Cup with Diego Maradona, a man who was destroyed by the media in every single country he stepped on his home country in Argentina, especially in Barcelona. Then in Italy, don't forget that Diego, because he eliminated Italy in the semi-final in the 1990 World Cup, was banned from the Italian football, from football in general, for a year and a half. And then that craziness regarding the 94 World Cup and everything. So he was a destroyed man who was then the pleasures that Diego have after football was robbed from him, and the respect he had earned was robbed from him, was on the food and the drinks and the partying. So obviously 2010 wasn't proper for Messi to win the World Cup. But from this hardship, from this heartbreak, from the Champions League that he was robbed, and from the coach that he had, Maradona, came the 10-11 season, where we won the Champions League, where that Madrid of Mourinho, who came to finish the Guardiola team, who came to finish Messi, who came to finish it all, were humiliated in the league with the 5-0, and then in the semi-final of the Champions League. They may take that final with the Copa del Rey, who cares? The team still played superbly well. and he bounced back from that horrible 2010 by winning the Champions League and the league in 2011, 2010, 2011. But then Laporta had left, and Rossell and Bartomeu were now in charge. And I like to remind my dear friends, my dear coolers, that the deterioration that we saw of the best team of all time, it was really aesthetical deterioration as well. The 10-11 shirt, which was, to me, the most beautiful Barcelona shirt that I have seen, that I followed closely, with UNICEF, the values, more than a club, etc. On the next season, already was Qatar Foundation, which we know was a contract that was hidden, that would allow Qatar to eventually buy the naming rights and all of that I reviewed on my articles over the years. And hey, Oscar. Yeah, I'll be talking for like 20 minutes and I'm done. But if you have to rest, go, my friend. Nice to have you here. And we saw the poisoning of the club with the shirt. The 11-12 shirt is an ugly shirt. Rossell was making Guardiola's life living hell. The media was making Guardiola's lives living hell. La Liga was robbed by Real Madrid. If you remember, I remember several good calls that favored Real Madrid and bad calls like that handball that stopped a goal against Espanyol that would have given the points. All crazy bullshit. And Messi faced not only that defeat in La Liga, but also that crazy semi-final against Chelsea, that heartbreaking moment against Chelsea, that we know, if you watch those matches today, that if we played the same two matches 10 times, we would won 9.5. But we lost that one. And Messi bounced back from that by maybe following one of his saddest seasons, the 12-13, which was another shirt that was different, that was full of stuff with Qatar on the chest and whatnot, that we saw that terrible situation with Tito Villanova, and imagine the mental health of the group and everything, and Messi, who had known Tito since he was a teenager, and we saw how Messi won the league title on his best individual moment. Messi in 2012, 2013 was an unstoppable beast. All the major records, the 50 goals in La Liga in the same season, the 91 goals in 1 year, the 73 official goals in the same period. But we got the warning sign of what was to come, what we're living now, which was the debacle, the 7-1 against Bayern Munich. And after that, Rossell's plan moved the same way it would. After Tito's untimely passing, the sad passing, we got Tata Martino, which was the most transparent move by Rossell and Bartomeu to take Messi out of this club. Because I need to remind you that I'm in 2013, 2014 right now, but Rossell and Bartomeu had signed a pre-contract with Neymar, which was illegal in 2011, before the Club World Cup final against Santos. And even though the structure in La Masia, in the management of the club, obviously had other coaches to be able to follow after Tito's passing, Rossell pulled Tata Martino out of the blue because he knew he was a mediocre coach. He knew it was a coach who would suffer to, fit at Barcelona. But just because he could say that Messi was the one who asked for him. And Messi literally had never even met the man. He didn't know the guy. And at the same time, at the same period, the board had graciously given Davi Villa for free to Atletico. And obviously, you know how robbed it was because Messi scored the winning goal in the Camp Nou, but it was wrongly disallowed. We lost the league title in 2014 as well. So Messi was really heartbroken because if you don't recall, Messi had, I think, one of his most serious injuries in the second semester of 2013. He was 3 or 4 months away. He came to Argentina to train, etc. And then Messi had a further heartbreak in the World Cup. The World Cup, where most of the Argentina squad was injured, where the organization here in Brazil put Argentina to play in the worst time slots available. Argentina was the national team who played the most matches at 1 p.m. local time in Brazil. If you have any idea of the climate situation in Brazil, you know really well that 1 p.m. here, it's really tough. It's way harder. You get more tired. It's more likely that you'll get, injured or something. And Messi did a superb first round. He was vital in getting the win against Switzerland. I was at the game against Belgium in Brasilia in a 1 p.m. match. It was the only time in my lifetime that I watched this guy live. I didn't see him score, but I did see that marvelous pass to Di Maria, which unfortunately was the moment in which Di Maria got injured and didn't return for the rest of the competition. He won the semi-final against the Netherlands. That moment, and he was crying of happiness to reaching the final. But sadly, the biggest heartbreak, or the second biggest heartbreak of that moment, was a journalist, El Topo, who died in a car accident here in Brazil, in São Paulo. A drunk driver hit him. He was one of Messi's best friends, one of the oldest and kindest journalists who was following Messi. He was a young guy. Veronica Brunati, who is a really famous Argentine journalist, was his wife. The situation was so crazy that she was informed that her husband had passed away because Diego Simeone tweeted it. So the exchange was really sad to see her replying to Simeone saying, "He's my husband, are you sure?" So Messi played the final with his mental health in ruins, tired because the whole team was tired, and with lots of people injured who didn't take part. And even then, Argentina should have won the final if Higuaín and Palacios had done their job. And with 7 minutes to go, Götze happened, and Messi's heart was broken. And what did he do the next season? He endured Luis Enrique, who, I repeat, is way closer to Mourinho than to being a Cruyffist or close to Guardiola. He's just a younger Mourinho who does triathlon, who was a really machista man, an unbearable guy, who was a puppy to Bartomeu. I repeat, a puppy to Bartomeu, who was this really tough guy who treated the media with blah, 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 but who defended the signing of Douglas, who signed Rakitic, which at this moment we were okay with, but refused to sign Toni Kroos for 25 million euros when he took over. Who was a guy who needed time to make his MSN, who made his team click. And in January 2015, He tried to discipline Messi with his roughness, his machismo, and Messi didn't go to training and followed Chelsea on Instagram. You remember that? All the craziness that ensued made things work, and we won the triple. So Messi, um, after the hardship he went through in 11-12, 12-13, 13-14, after losing the World Cup, he won the triple again. And after that, we saw just the same script being played out. Messi didn't win the Champions League again because what Bartomeu and Rossell were doing on those first 3 to 4 years, they just kept making it worse and worse and bringing worse players and doing every single thing they could to fool the pockets of the random businessmen, the random agents that they wanted. And they did not at any moment try to keep the best club of all time, La Masia, the use of young players, all of that was gone. And Messi was there. He lost to Juventus. He tried to win as many league titles as he could, and he did. He lost to Rome. He lost to Liverpool. He lost to Paris Saint-Germain. He lost time and time again, and every season he came back. He was the best player of the world in every single season. He was scoring his 30, 35, 40 goals, the 15, 20 assists. He was being, unstoppable. He didn't dive. He didn't cheat. He was being Lionel Messi. And in the final season, which he thought would be his final season after having to endure Bartomeu and the destruction for so many years, he was denied his right to leave the club that had been hurting him so badly for the last few years. And remained here against his wishes. And the first half of the season was hard, obviously, with COVID and everything. But in 2021, Messi clicked. Messi almost won us the league, if not for Koeman and his disaster on the last few matches. If not for Bartomeu gifting Luis Suarez to Atletico Madrid, just like it did David Villa when they won the league against us in 2014. And he won the Copa del Rey, went to Argentina against Brazil, a Brazil who was then the current Copa America champion, in Brazil, faced Brazil in the final and won. So my friends, Messi is the most dedicated, unstoppable, ruthless, self-motivating, top-performing athlete I have ever followed, and the last 13 years are proof of that. Messi will be fine. I'll be really, really sad if he goes to PSG because that club represents. It's the worst regarding football, politics. It's an empty club. And I'm certain that Messi, if he goes to PSG or if he goes to Chelsea, we don't know. The options are really, limited. He won't feel any connection to the club. He may feel connection to the fans, the people who treat him well, but even without that, this man who had to flee his nation with 13 years old to fulfill his dream of, becoming a healthy teenager, then fulfill his dream of becoming a professional footballer. And because of his drive, because of his professionalism, because of his sacrifices, because he has made so many sacrifices, he There's no words. I woke up today 6 a.m. in my time here in Brazil to watch Messi's presser today. And when he opened that door, looked at what was happening and started crying, there was no way to not follow him. And I know that most of you who are watching right now did the same. And Messi will be fine. I do hope that FC Barcelona is fine, will be fine as soon as possible, and that we will be able to dream that not only we'll get our goodbye in a field Camp Nou as Messi deserves, as he said today that he really wanted it, he never saw that he would be living the way he's living today. And that Messi is able to play his actual final season in Barcelona, for his be able to, feel the process that was so traumatic and indefensible for us the last few days. Laporta has to really explain really well what happened. I'm tired. I don't have my voice is gone. I can't keep this live stream going. I have said all I could. I didn't get into detail of everything these people did to destroy this club, but I think I touched the main subjects. And especially, I was able to treat this guy here with the respect, the dignity, and the love that he has given me, that he has given us all these years. My life would be way different, sadder, less complete, less interesting, if it wasn't for him. If it wasn't for his drive, if it wasn't for his sacrifices, if it wasn't for his talent, if it wasn't for his ruthlessness, if it wasn't for his greatness. Messi's greatness was built upon heartbreaks over heartbreaks. That's what I try to convene on this last part of my live stream today. I love Messi. I love his family. I love everything that I learned and I lived following him closely, especially the last decade. Because he's a guy from South America like me. He's a guy the same age as me. I'm 6 months older than him. He's a guy who owes a lot to his grandmother, and so do I. And in several moments where I needed, my mental health needed, the tools that I have weren't enough to deal with reality, Messi's art, Messi's greatness, Messi's dedication was there for me. And I know that he was there for millions, hundreds of millions of people. Thank you very much for allowing me to pay homage to this guy who's important for so many of us. Thank you for following me for all these years, for, giving me 2 hours of your day after this traumatic date for our club, and make certain to honor players like him, the players that will come after him, and the people who are still trying to defend the legacy, Cruyff, La Masia, Juego de Posición, and the right, the human right that we have to still watch football as a form of popular expression, as a form of the development even of a young child with disabilities from South America, from Argentina, who had to learn to land in Europe and go through all the hardships, and he became the best player of all time. If we are able to work on ourselves with the same drive that Messi did all his life, and form around ourselves the support and the love that we need to go by the hardships of our daily lives, and especially the hard moments, we'll be fine. Doing our best, doing it with love, doing it with passion, doing it with surrounded by people who love us and who are as passionate about their own projects and respecting our projects as Messi did, there's nothing we can't accomplish. So, thank you for the last decade. Thank you for your time today, for your trust in me. And I'm certain that Messi will be fine, that we collectively will be fine. And I really hope that the financial situation in Barcelona is reversible and that the club is put on the right track as soon as possible. It will be really, really tough when Messi plays with another shirt, especially if it's PSG. But he earns that we wish him good luck and that he achieves whatever he set his goals, whatever goals he wants. I'm certain that he'll do his best, and I hope that the people in charge of FC Barcelona right now will do the same. And maybe, just maybe, we get a final season of Messi as a player. I know it's a dream right now, but he made sure to tell us that it's not a goodbye, it's a see you soon. I hope to see Messi soon back in our club. I hope to see the proper management in our club soon again. And I hope to see you all soon when we get him back, when we get our way back, and we really start seeing the injustices and the crimes that we witnessed this last decade being punished. I love you all. Thank you so much. This is the end of this live stream. August 8th, 2021. 21 years, basically 21 years. He landed in September of 2000. 21 years after Messi and his father, Jorge Messi, arrived in Barcelona to try to fulfill a dream of a youngster who, like many others, had no guarantees that he could become what he wished. What we got was greatness. What we got was history. What we got was the best. Visca o Barça, Visca Catalunha, e all the luck in the world to Messi. Bye bye.